Sweet. All right. Well, Laura, what we'll do is got about 114 people here, which is great. I think
You,
we'll start off by just getting some background on how you came in. I know you came from you got the Ignite Mastermind background, which is awesome. So you're part of Perry Belcher's mastermind?
I am. I've been working with Perry probably 15 years plus. He used to be my publisher when he was with Digital Marketer back in the day.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I have a long relationship with him and whatnot. And I do have a cat who's gonna bust our balls a little bit. I'm sorry.
That's all
She
right. I've
just
got two dogs that just always come in the meetings.
yeah. This is Edie, and she's gonna bother mom.
You're all good. Oh, awesome. Okay, so you came from so you were working in publishing with Perry. Um,
Yeah, I created a course on how to optimize Google Maps for local businesses, and I taught agency owners or how to be an agency back in the late '90s. I mean, excuse me, in the late 2000s. Back in the late '90s, I started my first internet thing. But yeah, I've been working with Perry since then. You know, when I've had an agency, and I don't know, it just it worked out.
oh, that's awesome. Wow, okay. So yeah, it's crazy thinking like stuff before ChatGPT, like writing stuff before AI. You have to do it all.
Oh no, I started stuff when well before the Canned Spam Act, before I mean my first .com was called PCDJ. It was the first dual MP3 player for DJs, and we had 1 million downloads in 1999, which was huge back then. So yeah, I've done a few things. I mean, that also just shares with me that I'm old enough to be a dinosaur in internet news. So there you go. Yeah.
That's awesome. You're like an OG. That's huge. Well,
Yeah.
all right, so fantastic. So let's go through. I think when you joined AudienceLab, I know it was your first goal to build newsletters, or what was your how did you
Well,
get to what you're doing now?
it's interesting because, I've had an agency, in one form or another since 2002. And because of AI and because of just the state of things, I have become a little more disillusioned on being an agency owner. It's a little bit harder. Uh, uh, and I guess I'm a little burnt out. And I do much better coaching other agency owners and whatnot. And I realized that at my age, which I don't look it, but I'm 64, I do not want to be doing bid adjustments on people's ads accounts in my 70s. So I thought, well, one of the things I can do is build some assets, and a newsletter is an asset, and that can be sold, and I can sell affiliate offers in it, and I can build authority that way. And frankly, it's a lot easier than working one on one with clients. And I'm not saying that I don't want to work with clients. I do work with clients. I work with a lot of names that you probably know. But again, I've just kind of gotten to a point where I wanted to simplify things for myself. So, I have my Audience Labs agency account, but I don't do as much done for you stuff as I do. I'll sell access to the data and whatnot, and then I'll put systems together. I'll do um, um, automations and whatnot like that. But I'll even do the writing. I just don't want to do the day-to-day stuff. That makes any
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
that makes sense. So it's more about building assets. I think that's a really smart move. I mean, um, the newsletter is probably one of my favorite strategies actually because it just once you get it going, it just grows and grows and grows, and then you have essentially like an asset that you can charge for people to have access to, or you
Right.
can actually get a pretty good valuation on it. I know newsletters are selling. I mean, there was a newsletter there was a newsletter that sold for like 8 figures. I'm trying to
Oh,
think what
yeah.
it was.
Morning brew.
It was Morning
Morning,
Brew, and then there was another one.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's I mean that's awesome. So what's uh last
So let
time
me yeah, so I can kind of give you my thought process and how I got started this time.
Yeah.
Back in 2002, I actually leveraged two people I knew with very big email accounts, and I actually ended up with one of the largest databases in the country. But it was very, very hard to mail. In fact, I ended up being called the spam queen on the front page of the Wall Street Journal because I told the story about how I got shut down by selling. It was pretty funny, actually. Uh, you know,
That's
yeah,
crazy. You got wait,
yeah,
spam. I'm not gonna find that article right now, but I'll do it later. Um, that's crazy. Okay. So yeah,
yeah, it is crazy. But I've been around a long time, and I know the ups and the downs. But here's the thing, I realized that, especially now that time. I mean, even back then, even though there was, and there's still no law against sending an unsolicited commercial email. It's just if they say stop, they're not. You can't send it to them again. But there's problems with, you want to get through to Google, you want to get through to Outlook, you have problems, ISPs and whatnot. So there still has to be a way of, if you have the right list and the right people, to get through to them in a way that will not get you shut down or create, an upset and whatnot. And this is so Perry had done a training on newsletters, and I thought, yeah, okay, whatever. It sounds interesting. But when I saw the training that you guys did I don't know if it was newsletter. I think it was a newsletter
yeah.
training.
Was it Nick? Nick showing his newsletter strategy?
I think so. I mean, it was like, going and sending out 3 emails and asking to, kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
giving
that's
me,
Nick's one. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah, but it didn't quite work for me.
okay.
Okay. Okay. And it's not that it was a bad strategy, but I kind of have my own thing. And my thing is that, well, first of all, I wasn't getting that many people willing to do the survey anyway. I mean, I sent out, maybe 20,000 emails. I got like 5 people that were interested. I mean, I got people opening up, but I didn't get anybody saying, hey, yeah, I'm in. So I
Mhm.
didn't feel great adding those guys to a newsletter, even if they opened up. And then what happened was I watched another guy, sorry, Pat, another guy who's in our Ignite Mastermind, and he had set up a cold email sequence, and in that email sequence, he was just taking the guys that opened up and putting them straight into Beehiiv, the newsletter software. And the reason why he could do this was because he was helping them find jobs and job seekers in a very, very tight niche. They want as much information as they possibly could. So it got me to thinking that if what I did was, this is my first real good newsletter, was with agency owners, because I know them so well and I've trained 30,000 of them and whatnot. I said, okay, good. What is it that is the biggest issue these guys are dealing with, or one of them? And I did a whole bunch of research. I used ChatGPT. I used a whole bunch of different things. And the one thing that agency owners it's like a death nail to them, is scope creep, right? When somebody says, hey, and they add stuff that's not in the statement of work, and they end up putting in extra hours and not getting paid for it. And that's a big downside for agency owners.
Yeah.
So what I did was I said, okay, so if I have a scope creep solution and I gave it to them, they would be pretty happy. So what I did was I created a scope creep GPT called Scope Defender. And then, knowing that, I didn't want to just give it to opens. I wanted people to know that I was giving it to them. I used a little known technique that should probably be better known, by Dean Jackson, who I met through Frank Kern. And it's a concept of cheese and whiskers when it comes to sales. And basically, it's about understanding your prospects and how they react to marketing. So they want the cheese, right? The value, the helpful stuff, right? The benefits, right in the moment but as soon as they sense whiskers, like in a like a mouse looking at, a whatnot, meaning, and you're trying to sell them something, they run. So the whole thing is, how do you go ahead and give them something that's quote unquote cheese without them going, oh my God, you're trying to sell me something. So I created, and Perry taught me this, which is a really cool thing. So I created a copywriter mastermind in a project in ChatGPT. So I did deep research, and I have him and Frank Kern and from Mosey. I mean, about 15 or 20 of them. And I gave a very specific instruction so that the mastermind would talk to each other and help me come up with the best copy and the best strategy. And the best thing that came up was out of the Dean Jackson one, which was, I know, and they talk about scope creep and how horrible it is, and I'm an agency owner and blah, 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 and I'll show you those emails. But the line was, I'm going to send you my newsletter and Scope Defender GPT unless you tell me not to.
I like that.
And yeah, so I mean, and you can do that in any niche, right? You just got to figure out what it is. Like, look, I know you share my pain. I'm going to send you this unless you tell me not to. And so now that gives me tacit agreement to add anyone who's an open on my list to my newsletter. And that's what I do.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool.
Okay.
So essentially you pull a list. I know you're doing B2B. So
Yeah. I've been testing. So I have my AudienceLabs list. I did some instantly lists. And I had a friend who had Seamless AI, and I had him pull some data for me to I mean, you're gonna do things. And I tested instantly, and I'm testing ReachInbox, and I have another one. I test everything and whatnot. And especially considering this is a small niche, the more data I get, the better, because I'm not looking for huge agencies. I'm looking for smaller agencies, probably $1 million or less a year. Solopreneurs or very small teams. I don't want to work with what I'm doing here. I don't want to work with huge teams. So that's what I did. And I mean, I got a great list from you guys. And what I did was you have to break it up into chunks. So I broke it up into chunks of 5,000. I run it through zero bounce, and I get out all the complainers, all the bouncers, anyone, and it integrates it a little bit, but that's fine. At least now you're working with a very good list. And then I upload that to Instantly or ReachInbox or whatever. And I have 4 emails that I have crafted, and they both get about the same response rate. And excuse me, all 4 of them get about the same response rate. And I created an automation. I originally did it in Zapier, but Zapier is expensive. So I bought a lifetime to Padly, and I just switched everything over to that. And so when somebody opens, it goes directly to Beehiiv. I used to put in an automation that said wait 10 minutes because if they said no, but I found that not many people did, and it just cost me extra credits. So I just go through the emails and just remove them on their confirmation. And so that's one piece. And then when they also open up, I also send them to Go High Level and tag them as newsletter members, just in case something happens with Beehiiv. You know how things go. I mean, I've done this. I've been mailing to this list that I've been building, I don't know, since April, and I think I've gotten 3 complaints and some opt-outs, but not a huge amount. So I'm not worried about it, but it's a backup, just in case something happens. So I built a list in 2 places, and I only send it out once a week. And I only push my coaching and an occasional affiliate offer, and it's just all value. How to make more money from your clients, how to take a vacation and not worry about what's going on. So I've been building a very nice a stable of good content for them on top of everything else. So yeah. I mean, that's the short one. Of course, there's a lot of moving pieces to put it together, and it took me 2 months to figure out this. If I'll send you this unless you tell me not to. Because originally I pulled some lists and I was trying to just generate leads for my AI automations because I thought, okay, so I can sell automations, right? Because I'm certified with Make and people want to have this thing to work to that thing. And, I mean, the list was fine, but, I wasn't getting a lot of reach back on emails. So this is a whole different story. And when you can, and it's like, when you're doing lead generation one by one out of these cold emails, you're either going to get the guy or you're not. But if you add him to a newsletter, he's yours forever.
Yeah.
What I mean? And again, it becomes an asset. So, sometimes it takes a certain amount of time for you to go, oh, I should have thought of that a year ago. Well, yeah, I should have thought that a long time ago, but nonetheless, that's what we got, and it's working out great.
That's awesome. I think it'd be really cool because I know you haven't played with smart search yet, but
No,
because we essentially what we did is we ran all our business data through a vector model. So without like getting too technical, essentially a word like agency owner, or sorry, a phrase like agency owner could be made up of 2,000 to 10,000 numbers, right? Which are vectors. And then when you type in something like, that doesn't even directly mention agency owners, it'll still pick it up based on the score. So what that means is you can now target businesses based on what they do instead of just broad
who they
category.
are.
So, you can target agency owners running TikTok ads, or you could target um, agency owners that specializes in UGC agencies. So you
Right,
can figure out all your subtypes of agencies, even ones that wouldn't be available through LinkedIn or whatever, based on their offer. Because as long as it's something like if there's an agency owner and on their website, they've mentioned, oh, we're an AI agency, or we specialize in reputation management. You can put that into your description for the smart search, and you can pull all of these out. So it'd be wild to see how you do that with the newsletter
yeah,
strategy to like
yeah,
align it.
yeah. I mean, the second newsletter strategy I'm going to be using is in finance because my husband has he does a whole bunch of stuff with the very small niche called prop firms, and prop firms are are companies that if you don't have enough money to trade, they'll give you money to trade. You pay them a small fee, and you keep a bit of what you make. And if you make it through, if you if you if your trading strategy is good enough over a certain amount of time, then they give you more money to invest. And again, you get to keep part of the profits. So prop firms are paying nice commissions for new people, and it's a small enough niche that we can do something with. So I've done some searches. So I really like the fact that we can now view the list before we buy it. You know what I mean, or say yes on it.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah, no, definitely. I
I mean?
think
Yeah,
that
it
was
makes a huge difference.
that
So
was a
yeah, before it was just like hope.
yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think we what we're looking to do, I think, is because you haven't really played yet with the semantic search. What I'll do is I'll show you because this will
See,
help
yeah,
you.
that
I'll share my screen and I'll show you guys this because this will help you a lot in terms of your search for your audiences. Um, I don't think people realize how many audiences we really have.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I got to be honest with you. I'm so darn busy that I just you know uh I just don't have time for all the training. So I did a little bit of training and then I just kind of through intuition figure
yeah,
out how certain things
well,
work.
ultimately, I think what we're gonna really be pushing is for people to start just using AI agents to build their stuff. I think at the moment this finds audiences for you, but once we release our endpoints, this will actually build the audiences. It's just trained on our vectors for intent right now. But like say for an example, what's the finance thing that you're doing? Sorry.
Called prop firms, people who are who are searching for prop firms.
Prop firms?
Yeah, PROP. I had
Hmm.
some dental surgery. Yeah. So my S's and my enunciation isn't as good as it normally is.
No, good. So
Yep.
it's called a prop firm.
Yep, that's
And then what
correct.
do they, what does the prop firm do?
Prop firm is a company that will allow you to, they'll give you a trading account that's theirs and allow you to go ahead and trade under they've got a whole different programs for people who don't have a lot of their own cash.
Interesting. Okay, so we're looking at private trading firms to trade with their specific types of trading stocks. So what's some more context we can add, and then we'll build a phrase, and then I'll show you how it gets in.
I just know it's called prop firms and people. Let me while we're talking. Let me just go
That's
to
all right.
Google.
I'm assuming it's like stocks and commodities.
Yeah, but it's called a prop firm. Okay, it's where you can do. Okay, if I look at it, it's prop firm trading, prop firms for U.S. traders, prop firm challenge, prop firms for future, prop firm for stocks. So that's yeah,
We'll
that's
look and
yeah,
see prop firm. So I can add a
yeah.
bit of context to it is
I mean, if I can,
what was it? Well, I'm just seeing if that's the prop firm short for proprietary trading firm. Okay.
yeah, but that's what I mean. Everybody calls them prop
Yeah.
firms. So, yeah,
Prop firm is company that trades.
yeah. That its members trade that money. Yeah. Jaden wants to know just forex or stock futures for prop firms. Yeah, that might be too. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, these are this is nice. I mean, I would for me, I mean, I have some other niches I wanna bang into too. So, but it's like if you can do it in one, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, well, now everything's vectored. It's just so smart. I mean, because I think like a lot of people are like, okay, so do you do keywords, like how does it work with the keywords, things like that. Keywords, are very limiting because let's say prop firm, right? So we're looking at prop firm. So if I type in, we might not have an audience that says prop firm, but we might have something very, very similar, or you might need to
Right.
build a custom model. And you could just type in prop firm and it could just go empty. Whereas when you have vector models, when you type in prop firm, it's a scoring system. So I'll show you. So we're going to go for individuals actively seeking proprietary trading firms for stock and commodity trading. So we're going to go for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Let's do that.
And what it's going to do is it may not have prop firm, but it's going to have ones that are very similar. Unless we want to build a custom model, which is like exactly going to be exactly matched. But you see there's a little score here. So this is
Yeah.
basically based on the cosine. So when
Yeah,
I
but that would be wrong. Brokers and agents is definitely not what it would be because this is an individual thing. These
got
this is
so be
yeah.
more
Yes, it's a B2C, to be honest with you. The what I'm looking for is the consumers that are looking,
so we
you
might
know.
have because we might have to give more information, but we're looking at probably what's E-Trade because I don't think I might need to add
Yeah,
more information about prop firms, but
yeah, but the one under the one that's online and mobile investing is probably more. Yeah, E-Trade's a company. That's probably more accurate or closer to it.
because I think if we look at the more information you can put in here, what it
Right,
does is it creates a query here.
right.
And when you search this, what it does is it takes so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah.
So there's 11
No,
words there.
I don't want to say broke ass people who don't have their own money to invest. You know?
So there's
Yeah, I'm
11.
sorry. My New York accent does come out every once in a while.
You're all good. So I mean, so if you look at 11 words there, this uses
Yeah,
what's called 1024 dimensions. So that means each word is 1024 dimensions. So
God.
this phrase is like I don't know, like a lot of dimensions. So what you do is when you click here, it's running it through and turning this into a score, and then it's looking for based on the score. So the more you can give this, you can then get different scores here. And this is what we're wanting to have people use as like their gauge to see, is this audience who I want, is based on the similarity score. Because the more you can train, well, not train, the more you can build a very concise description, it builds this score here. So this thing's trained on our audiences. We're about to plug in the B2B to train it on B2B, but like smart search, I definitely, you definitely want to start using that with some of your newsletter stuff. Like I'll just go into.
So do I have access to that yet?
Yeah, that's just Spark at just spark.audiencelab.io. You don't need to log in, anything like that. You just type in Spark.
Oh, okay. So if I go to spark.audiencelab.
Sorry, no, Spark, yeah, spark.audiencelab.io. But one thing which would be really cool for you to do is let's do like top of my head, let's do one, like let's do, I'm just gonna do like something like personal injury lawyers. All right, so let's do personal injury. So let's do a bit of that. So like if you go here and you go to the business, you've got this one here. It's called Smart Search. It's on beta. It's just B2B business keywords. So like, let's say for an example, I wanted to do, I need to make sure I spell this right. Because we don't have like a spelling check in there. So it'd be attorneys specializing. Oh, I could do property law. Yeah, let's just do that. So like, if we're adding enough context, I did a whole workshop on this. So I'll send it. I'll make sure everybody has access. But attorney specializing in property law, right? So there's no like SIC code for that. There's SIC code for attorneys, but if you put that in there, it takes about, I think it takes like 15 seconds at the moment to like generate a good query. It's going down each day, but it goes through a lot of data. And if you think about the amount of vectors it has to go through, it's pretty insane. So what this will do essentially is it's doing the same thing as if we go to Spark. So Spark is using a vector model with the audiences, and this is doing that, but across like every single profile. But the reason why this will be so powerful for your newsletter is because sending, say for an example, so your main thing you were focusing was scope creep, right? And it was looking at like, oh, here we go. Okay. So you see here, if we go into the companies, now 500,000 people, there's not 500,000 like founders of attorneys. We did every, like, this is everything. So it's like, we'd have to go here and specify founders, directors, because this is taking all the companies that specialize in property law. And it's from like the paralegal to the attorney to the graduate trainee, you know, to the developer that works at the company website. Like it's all on here. So, and this person, you might see like this thing here, it says cannabis associate. You're right. Like, what does that mean? It's because you could have someone that like works at that law firm that does other things as well in their job title. But if you go here and then you start playing around with the titles and things, you'll find these really specific sub segments. And that would be, then if you go contact, you go valid emails, for deep verified emails, you'll be able to see all the verified emails of people that match that exact search. So it would be really cool to see how that works with the newsletter, particularly in subcategories. So you've got the scope creep, but imagine you had something where it was specific for AI agencies, you know, where it was scope creep in terms of setting up an AI system that now they want you to write copy or something. Like, because then it's different. It's a different sophistication level of problems, I think. Like, but
yeah, but you know, it's funny, you know, even though I talk about that particular thing, the problems are almost, I mean, in the many years that I've been coaching agency owners, it doesn't matter what the technology is. Problems are always the same. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Because they're personal things, you know? It's taking on a client that you shouldn't have taken on because they don't have enough budget, you know what I mean? Or that you felt bad, or you know what I mean? Um, uh, where you have somebody who's just not a great human, you know, and is just beating the shit out of yourself or you know, your the people that work for you and whatnot. On and on and on. So um, as much as I teach how to be more efficient and how to get much more done, because I have a whole concept that I call the elastic organization. Because what happens is you start to scale a business and you hire, and then you don't get paid because you're scaling, right? You have these new hires who may or may not work out. And so what I've ended up doing is that I have about 10 people that are specialists that I've been working with pretty continually over the last 15 years. But they only work for me when I need them. I pay them a little bit more than they'd make anywhere else, and they like working for me. So I know that when I need them, they're there. But if I don't have work for them, I don't have to pay them. And that's a concept that most agency owners don't realize. You know, they end up hiring an ads manager, and then they don't have enough clients to pay for the guy, so that they keep the guy because they don't want to lose him, and then they don't get paid. I don't know about you, but I like to get paid if I'm going to work. So you know that kind of stuff. So that continually, you know, even with the technology, the when you're coaching these guys, the problems are pretty similar. What I
no, it
think.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's like going to the it's once you find that deep problem, you can really evergreen. You can really run with that.
Right.
So with the so let's chat a little bit about the newsletter setup, because I know essentially what you're doing is you're pulling a list, you're cleaning it, and then are you just sending that first initial email through instantly, you said, or are you using instantly in Reach Mail or
Well,
Mailers?
right now I have in fact, if you look, I'll show you. I've got show you a few things. I have instantly running.
Mhm.
I have ReachInbox running right now, and I bought a third one that I have not started mailing with yet, but I got a lifetime on it because you know what happens is it gets expensive with the email boxes and whatnot. I mean, so I've been trying various and sundry different ways of doing it a little less expensively. Not that I'm cheap, but
We
you
need
know
to
how
get you
people.
on Audience Send, because that's our ESP.
Okay,
We've partnered with a few different ESP partners on the back end. And
I'll surely test it.
because when you,
For sure.
yeah, when you use instantly, it's not its own ESP. You're just using your mailbox, but it's rotating it.
Yes.
Whereas if you use this ESP, you're essentially using our sending domain. You're just adding
Yeah.
it into it. So you could do
Yeah.
100,000 to a million emails from one single mailbox.
Yeah. But will it deliver? I mean, I'm
Yep.
kind of. I mean, remember you're talking to the spam queen here. I will tell you that. Not that I'm. Well, I guess I am kind of proud of it, but um, the stats that I've gotten going out of an ESP versus doing it this way are totally different. I think that so let me show you what I'm talking about here. So for example, this was today's mail. I did this. Okay. I got a 60% open up rate on 1,000 emails that I sent from Audience Labs. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really good. I think is this the I'm going to send it to you unless you tell me not to?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love that line. That's so good.
This is the this is I have four different ones. Okay, I built an AI tool to help you with your clients from eating your margins, right? And then it just says, yeah, hi, whatever. You take care of your clients, you bend a little, you say yes to the little quick edits. You're the hero until you look at your margins and realize you're working and you're not getting paid. Been there. So that's why I built something for agency owners like you, Scope Defender, GPT that writes real world scripts, politely shut down scope creep without burning bridges or sounding like a jerk. It's yours, real tools, no strings. Use it or don't. I made it because the stuff almost wrecked my first agency, and I figured, hey, somebody should actually fix it. Oh, and every week I send out the Agency Insider, a quick hit newsletter for owners trying to scale smarter, not harder. This week's issue goes through how to use the tool and how to start saying no like a pro. I'll send it your way with the tool unless you say no.
That's such a cool strategy. I love that. The cheese and whiskers things make so much sense because it's like the fact that you're just saying, I'm going to send it to you whether you like, unless you tell me not to, you can use
Yeah.
it or don't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I have three different similar, you know, what is it? I made something that you would have saved 22-year-old me. And I do this too because they're all being sent from similar email addresses. So I don't want to send like it's a bulk email. So if I have different variations of this, and you know, I use the F word in a nice way.
Bit of curse in
Uh,
there.
yeah,
That's yeah. I mean, this is really cool because honestly, I think a lot of people, when so you've got two strategies, right? You've got cold email where you can just go direct, and I guess you're not even doing the cheese; it's just straight whiskers, so to speak. It's like,
because I mean, no, this is straight cheese. There is zero whiskers in this because I'm not selling them anything. I'm just giving them something for free.
yeah.
And then I'm giving them a newsletter that's got a huge amount of value. If I go to, I mean, let me take a look at this. Agency. I mean, look, this is just, these are the, you know, this is, it's nicely done,
Hmm.
right?
And then are you sending the newsletter from Beehiiv?
Yep, I'm sending it from Beehiiv. And I do that for two reasons. One is Beehiiv has really good deliverability. And two, it has partnership opportunities. So, you know, I can get advertisers from Beehiiv that I couldn't get on my own. And it gives me a good place to start. You know, if I have to move it off of Beehiiv, I will, but right now it's working pretty well.
What's the uh like you mentioned that you only do one
I
blast
do
a week. It's not like you're having to do it every single day. I think a
no,
common
I do it every Tuesday because it's you know, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, okay, so let's take a look at this. This is a this is a lot of work.
and
I'm
you
giving
send
them.
this out with the in the newsletter. So you send out the blog article as well.
Well, what I do is I send out a blurb of this, and then let me just let me go to show you um, playing around with. Let's take a look at this view. Right, and the whole article is clips of that, and then a whole bunch of other just newsy kind of stuff. What's
And in your
working, and then resources. So I create these download links that go to Google to uh, Google Docs that they can use.
so when you know someone has you send the email and they've told you, you know, they haven't said no, so you send them the thing. Are you immediately moving them over to Beehiiv if they've opened or clicked the email, or are you only taking people that have opted in?
From the email, they go over to Beehiiv. What they get is they get a confirmation email that has the Scope Defender GPT and explains what the newsletter is about. And then I have an automation that sends the first newsletter out in 24 hours, which is the Scope Defender email one. And then they're in the general distribution the next Tuesday.
Got you. Okay, so you send out the ones that are instantly, you know, basically you're taking the openers and clickers, and you know, just anyone that hasn't said no, and you're putting them into Beehiiv, and then
Just the openers, and I don't even measure clicks. And what's going to say, and you can see that here. in this, I'll show you, I have it here, okay? Like this is today's stuff. So, instantly to Beehiiv, 1,061, that was, tasks that went there, okay? And then ReachInbox, which is the opens from Reach to Beehiiv. So yeah, so I got, because I took 2 weeks off reworking some of the stuff, and I fired up today, and I got an extra 1,200 on the list. So it's good. It works. And I've been also trimming the list too, because if you get people who don't open or engage, they don't, they ruin your stats. So, they don't get mailed to. Anyway, it's, again, but yeah, there you go.
I think that's really cool. I think
That's the one that I bought, that many reach that I'm not done setting up yet.
yeah, and that's, I think in terms of instantly many reach, what those companies do is it's rotating the inbox.
Right.
I definitely want to get you to try our ESP, but something that we have, this is probably more on the personal side of email. We're gonna have it's just internal testing right now. But essentially we've created an email signals feed, which is really, really cool. Essentially it allows you to see, like, let's say you have 100,000 emails, right? Like 100,000 personal emails. When you run it through this, you might see there's 20,000 people of that 100,000 emails that have opened their email in the past hour, or like in the past 8 hours. So you just want to focus on those. It'd be really cool to, obviously this is recorded and we've got this one, but it'd be cool to meet it, like, so take your finance newsletter, use it on ESP. We can do some additional segmentation with this API and then see how it compares later on.
Like my goal is, I have a couple other niches that I'm interested in that are, hugely unrelated. I've also bought a bunch of local domains, because I want to do some local newsletters for the different towns around here, because I'm very okay.
Oh, a local newsletter. That is such a good idea. Yeah, I think
Sorry, this is Patty. She wants to kiss mom.
you're all good. Yeah, I just love I love the angle, because it's so much better. That, like, I think even just for those that don't understand the context, we have another training, Nick, who he builds his newsletters, but what he does, he asks a survey. And what Laura did instead is, instead of being like, hey, do you want to fill out this survey? Because it felt a little bit like people like, well, I know why I'm filling out this survey. You're just going to email me. She's like, look, I'm going to give you the thing whether you like it or, well, no, whether you use it or you don't. You just tell me not to and I won't send it. So I think that's just you could do that with so many things. You do that with so many industries. Like if you're in the finance industry, you could create a free resource for those people, for prop firms. And it could be about, I don't know, like the 10 things to not do when you sign with a prop firm or something like that. And,
Yes, you know how to do your market research correctly.
yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with copy coders or know Mario Castelli, but I love his stuff, and I have all his bots, and there's a couple of them that do research that are it's insane. I mean, I've been running a marketing firm for, 20 plus years, and we used to do like where we would call people, go and find people, we would survey them, and I got to tell you, theoretically it makes a lot of sense, but what happens is we found that people tend to tell you what they want you to, that they think you want to hear, as opposed to what they really feel. So, when you use some of these tools, where people are telling you what they really feel? On Reddit.
Yeah.
Okay. They tell you what they really feel when they're writing an Amazon review on something.
Yeah.
And then you really get what moves them. And I hate to tell you, people don't want shit that makes them feel, they want to solve problems, you know what I mean? And they don't care about who you are, you know what I mean? They just want to know what's in it for them. And once you realize that fact, you can sell what you want to sell much easier and whatnot. I mean, it's and it really is I mean, reputation is at its lowest ever in history, and so you have to kind of prove that you're the real deal, and you're not full of shit.
Mm.
Sorry, I realize I I I I talk a little too New
No,
York.
I like it. I think it's very true. I mean, what I like about this strategy as well is a lot of people think going the newsletter route means they have to just become like a content machine, but you're just focusing on one really good piece of content at least once a week. Do you how long does it take you to put out like a decent resource?
Flowers, and I'm using Manus.
Using what, sorry?
Manus.
Oh, using Manus. Ah, awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm using Manus for that. And yeah, I mean, look, I use ChatGPT for certain things. I use Claude for certain things. In this particular case, Manus does a really good job. And I did all the market research. God, do I have anything I can pull? Just see. Um, wonder if I have.
And while you do that, a question I'm getting in the chat is uh relating to the transition to sales, and I guess how you balance out the cheese with, actually being like, do you want to work with me? Is that just a call to action for coaching, or what are you selling for the newsletter?
The call to action inside the newsletter, I keep it really light. I don't need a lot of guys. I mean, like I need 20 to pay everything, every bill I have and whatnot. And I already make somebody, so I'm not. I'll put in a couple of the affiliate offers or whatever uh, from Beehiiv, but I'm really because I'm really not pushing it hard. If somebody needs me, they'll find me, and and I'm fine on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm
I
in it.
like that. I like
I'm in.
that.
I'm in it for the long haul. I can't tell you how many times I've been. I've worked with. I mean, look, I've worked with so many direct marketers, and I love them all. But it's like you're not going to crush sell people the same day. It's just not the way it goes. This is not what I was looking for.
It's so true. I think so
Okay, let me just give you an idea of what this is. This is just a buyer profile summary. I can do this with AI and I can find out all sorts of shit about somebody. You know what I mean? This is just a small one. I've done them where they're 40 pages long. 5 biggest objection they'll have somebody for their problem. Blah, blah, blah.
and this is what you'll feed to Manus?
No, yeah, I'll first do this. And you know what? I can show you the one I did for Patreon. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah. Okay, so watch this. This is a water with extra oxygen in it. I did this between Manus and ChatGPT and using some very specific prompts. But basically, I got a buyer persona of somebody, okay, and this is, like I said, it's a health conscious individual frustrated with conventional solutions, seeking natural wellness alternatives, and experience a gap between public appearance and private health struggles. Like they feel good, they look good, everybody thinks they're healthy, but they privately feel like shit. And so this is about Sarah. She's a successful professional who appears put together on the outside, but privately battles with constant fatigue, brain fog, declining health. She's health conscious, but frustrated with conventional solutions. And now I can get into emotionally how she feels, what her frustrations are, her biggest fears, the way they affect relationships, because this is 40 pages long. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. conventional but hurtful things relationships might say, spouse might say, oh, maybe you just need to exercise more. Knowing these different phrases and whatnot are really, really good in helping craft the right copywriting, the copy for that will actually speak to this person. The solutions that they've tried, their fail solutions, what they're not willing to do, what transformations are they looking for, what the market, what the success hinges on, what do they have to give up, who do they blame? Look at this: the medical system, environmental toxin, genetics, past lifestyle choices, work stress. Come on, how many women do you know have said that to you? You know what I mean? I know I've said it. You know, and then this is what they would say: 3 a.m. journal entry. Please note, type at 3:17 a.m. God, I'm so tired of feeling tired. Another night of staring at the ceiling, feeling my heart race for no reason. Everybody thinks I'm crazy when I try to explain how I feel, like I'm drowning from the inside out. This is like real shit, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another one. The Incognito tab. If this is what they're looking on their incognito mode, why am I always exhausted after sleeping? Chronic fatigue.
I love that, the Incognito tab. I've never heard
Yeah.
that persona before.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of stuff, you know, uh, the last straw. It wasn't the big moments, not the missed promotion or having to leave my daughter's recital early. It was the Tuesday afternoon at Whole Foods, and it goes into like these are just different ways that they're looking at
The
on and on.
conversation with God, the slow motion nightmare. Oh wow, this is like, it
Yeah,
reminds
yeah.
me of Harry Marshall's Swiss Army knife in terms of the.
This, and then the pain matrix, like where they're at, and their core wounds, and how to communicate to them, and the different curiosity, about their problems. Anyway, on and on and on. So, I did this for the agency guys. So I kind of knew who I was talking to, not to mention the fact that I've worked with them after all these years. We have a scale of believability, on and on and on. But you get my point here. Um, do your research,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
good.
mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, like you can go out and say whatever you want and say, oh, this didn't work. Well, it didn't work because you didn't communicate to them. Look, this is what I did today. Look at this in ReachInbox. I sent out, should be 400. I sent out. Let's see, 400, 44, 40, yeah. So I got 45% open up. That's not bad. 6 bounces, not bad.
So you'll move that over to
Yeah,
the-
through here.
and then send
Yeah,
them the actual thing.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so how
So
do you
yes,
find the because I've got a few people asking questions. How do you find the conversion rate when you do put out a CTA for booking after on the newsletter?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. That they're gonna if they make an appointment, it's just a matter of getting in touch with them and seeing what's fun. The
Well,
one thing
no,
I
sorry. I think I meant like, do you think do you think you have a higher conversion rate, having them respond based on the newsletter than you would to like ads or something like that?
yeah, absolutely, because they know me.
Yeah. Okay.
They know me. But I can also take that same list and make a retargeting list out of it so that I can push it that way on top of that.
It's funny you said that because so we've got our own ad exchange launching.
Right.
It's I don't want to put a date on it because then people will be like, let's have this date, but it's there in the background. And essentially the problem that's going to solve is the retargeting portion. Because if you have a list and it's like only 10,000 people and you want to run it through like Facebook or Google, it will just either reject the list or it won't really do it at a good CPM. So we've been testing this and the results are amazing in terms of pairing programmatic, which targets somebody everywhere, like every channel, every social media platform, paired with the email. We've seen a huge uplift on open rates and replies.
And the one thing you have to realize that, like when I started doing this, in the late 90s and whatnot, it was, people didn't trust the internet, but they weren't getting the same amount of marketing messages they're getting now. It used to be, you'd send, let's even a direct mail piece. The stat was send it 3 times, right? If you have a list of 1,000 people, rather than send it to 1,000 people, if you only have 1,000 postcards, send 300, 3 times, because it's a point of repetition, right? But now sometimes you're gonna have to have 10 or 15 touch points.
Mm.
I mean, look, again, remember, I'm a little bit older than most of the people on the call probably. But I'm like, I'll look at an email or even like a bill that I paid. I'm like, what did I buy? I don't even remember. You know what I mean? Because there's just so much more information coming out and whatnot. So, I think you got to have as many touch points as you can. And I would say at least 10 to be able to get, what you're trying to do. I mean, look, one of the reasons, everybody laughs at my pink hair. People remember my pink hair. It's a branding statement. Kind of like pink a lot anyway, but you're not going to forget me. You might not call me, but you won't forget me. Practicing what I preach as far as that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, well, it's been fantastic. I think I'm definitely getting reporting out ASAP. I think a lot of people are keen on this. I love the strategy. I think it's just so smart. I think the amount of work that you put into getting your messaging right is, you can clearly see like that's the needle mover there. I think what's one thing I noticed as well is you're doing like bite-sized, you're doing like smaller lists. What's like the biggest list that you've built and pushed out? Like, do you find
Um,
that it only works with like a small little burst at a time, or have you tried like 100,000 people at a time?
I do 5,000 in a shot, and maybe 1,000 a day. And I watch. Okay, the one thing I watch, especially I'll show you this instantly. When you go to the analytics, you go to the leads. The thing you gotta watch is the bounce rate. Now on this one, I only got four bounced out of 1,100 that went out. That's great. You check this one out. This is one of their lists that was up by their AI, right? And I was able to deliver, 1,000, and I got 55% open up, which is great. But check this out. Go to leads, 137, 14% bounced. And these are all verified.
Hmm.
So, you know, the Google gods, or whatever you want to say, the delivery gods, they start bouncing these emails if you send too many, which is one of the reasons why, like in this particular case, you're going to see I have, 50 or 60 different email accounts. And the most I'll send out of any of them, and that's really on the high side, is 30. So today I sent out, 15, no, almost 2,000 emails. No,
Hmm.
yeah, but any one of my email accounts didn't send any more than 15, 16, 17. Okay, this one sent 18 emails out.
Hmm.
And that keeps the health score up.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a cat and mouse game, but if you're not sending really, spammy stuff, and again, like it's stuff that I don't, how many of these emails do you get? I'll put a cold email system together for you, which blah blah blah, doesn't know who you are, doesn't really give a shit. It's not a really great message. I think that my messaging helps. And
Yeah.
again, I have several messages that go out. I mean, they're each a little different. Sequences. You know, stop saying yes to unprofitable work. And then subject lines. Now, and most of you guys, I mean, we're talking about a lot of stuff. There's two things that are really important to know about email. And it's real interesting. So the purpose of a subject line is to get somebody to open the email. There's no other purpose. So you gotta make it interesting. That's all. Purpose of an email is to either get somebody to click or to get agreement in some way or shape, form. It's not to sell them. If you want to sell them, they put them somewhere else. So you gotta take those little steps from, but for this, the subject line is everything.
Hmm.
So, oh, and another thing to keep in mind, there's a tool that I'm using here. Let me find it. Okay, it's a mail meteor spam checker. I'm gonna put this in the chat.
Oh, okay, so this is to it basically look at like the sentiment of the email and see if it's going to get picked up for spam.
Right. So you cut and paste your email in here and then change the words until you get a, you know,
Interesting. Yeah, because like ASAP, guaranteed, ROI, privately owned funds, like that would all be detected words that a lot of spammers use.
so you would want to use that. Let me find if I can find where the chat is.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah. So like I said, I used a lot of tools and and like it looks nice now, but it definitely took me several months to get it to work.
Yeah, no, it's something where it's like um the fact that you put so much time and research into creating that offer is really it's eye-opening because I think a lot of people you can pull a list, you can be like, oh, this list just isn't working. But it's if you just go straight for the kill, even I find on if I build like a custom model, I know it's the exact person that I want to target, and I'm just going straight for the kill, particularly on B2B lists. Sometimes it can be I don't know. I find either with like because we're talking like on B2B, I find either they respect it and they're like, oh, okay, cool, this person's gonna waste my time, or they just absolutely hate it. So it's like I think with it's about knowing your market. Like with agency owners, I think they respect the fact that you actually I put together the tool and I'm going to deliver on the tool. And because you've given me a word and then you've already delivered in that first email, first two emails, it really just builds the trust. I think that's
Other thing I write at the bottom of my email, which is, hey, if I can do anything to help you, just let me know. I actually look at and answer all these emails that come in.
and you find
I
that
look
works
at,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
You make it professional, but you also make it personal at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also made the voice very much me,
Yeah.
kind of antagonistic, kind of New York. Like if I was doing, the sour bread dough newsletter, I would mock up a personality that was, a homemaker and whatever, and I would send it from that. Um, because the pink haired New Yorker probably wouldn't sell sourdough as well.
It would be really interesting to put together some kind of challenge of all the people that want to create a newsletter and just kind of go through like the steps that it would take to put together a newsletter because it is a bit of work, but once you have this asset that just grows and grows and grows, it's
Well,
like
just go and look at what they're selling for. It's ridiculous. I
yeah,
mean, even ones that are just, a few thousand people and not even really making much money. You know what I mean? Now, I mean, when you think about it, if you were get okay, so I just finished doing a Facebook campaign for a book challenge, and I did a great job, and I got opt-ins for about $3 each, and on Facebook that's pretty hard to do. And but let's take a look at what I did today. I did 2,000 emails out, maybe 1,000 opt-ins. I mean, that would have been, if I got it that cheap, that would have been 3 grand in traffic. If I know I'm not spending that on emails.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I spend 1 grand a month between the emails and the services and that. So, but that would be every day. I'd have to spend 3 grand to get that. So,
Yeah.
you know, so there you go.
Well, this has been really good. I mean, just over an hour, so I want to get this recording out to everybody as soon as possible. But Laura, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom on that. I think that was
Elena asked, what is my open rate on the newsletter itself? If I send to engaged, it's about 50%. If I send to everybody, it's about 25%.
Do you send to engaged, like people that have only engaged in the past 7 days, or what window do you usually focus
No,
on?
anybody who's opened will be an engaged. Anyone who hasn't opened in the last 45 days, I take off. Because it's just they're not opening whatever, So
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's really,
and
yeah,
that 45 is arbitrary, you know.
yeah.
I yeah, it's just what I picked. There you
Yeah.
go.
All right, what we'll do is I'll put this recording out, and then there's so much good stuff in here at Golden Nugget. So I think once we like transcribe it, I think there'll be so much other resources that we can build from this, and I'll send through to you what we, the type of stuff that we can get out of it. We'll have to do a follow-up session to see. I'd love to help out on the financial newsletter. I think that would be really, really cool, and cracking that too would be a really fun case study for. I think you'd be able to sell a financial newsletter for a lot. If you think about all the offers that you can push through that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm like this is I like this a little better just because I own it, and I'm just at that age where I used to be able to put in a 70-hour week and not care about it, but
yeah,
now I'm chilling a little bit more. So what
you
can I
want to build
say?
accents. And that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, look, guys, we're gonna wrap up there. Laura, thank you so much for jumping on. If you guys have any other questions, I'll post this and then you can just ask under the school. All our recordings we push out virtually like I think 2 days after through the list, but we also add it into the school in the section. So like anything on audience send, we put in the audience send. I'm gonna put this in both the audience send section just for like newsletter stuff, but also I'll put it in the main weekly recordings. But
Okay. I
sweet
think
guys.
I'm in the so if anybody tags me, I can answer
Yeah,
questions.
no, that'll be awesome. Yeah, this has been really, really cool. I love that strategy. I think that's so powerful and it can work for so many things. So thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always fun,
I'm gonna I'm
I
gonna
love
reach out because I want you to test out some of this stuff with email signals. I think it'd be
yeah,
really
awesome.
awesome,
Great.
guys. All right, we'll wrap up there. Thank you so much, Laura.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.